You got Mac and Mac with our buddy Jeff Kerr from CBSSports.com. The end of game, Patrick Mahomes throws a touchdown pass. Kansas City Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls, have a chance to three-peat next year. What was the first thing you thought of, Jeff Kerr?
Corn dog.
Corn dog. Tom and Jerry this year, Jeff. Tom and Jerry. Whatever reason, that's what Andy called it this year.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's the same concept. It's just,
speed in, speed out.
Yeah,
speed in, speed out, and he's got that built-in essentially two picks. So it's I'm surprised more people don't use it. I remember covering the Vikings, but Chris Carter used to do that all the time. Speed in. Now they weren't as advanced back then. It was basically you just get the corner going one way and you zip back the other way, and he would get to the pylon. The Chiefs have taken it to another level, but Eagles fans should realize it ain't that easy to deal with. You may think it, and you just say, "Oh, you got us with it once. Don't do it again." Ain't that easy? They keep doing it.
You know, John, it's funny. I didn't expect to wake up this morning and see people comparing Kyle Shanahan to Doc Rivers, but it is kind of funny.
Yeah, well, the overtime stuff, and by the way, we're talking, I don't know how much you heard, Jeff, but Lindsey Jones from The Ringer now did a story this morning who, and she reported, and obviously she was there, multiple 49ers players said after the game they were not aware of the new overtime rules. That tells me the coaching staff was not aware. The Chiefs, on the other hand, had been planning for the scenario. Chris Jones said they were going to go for two had San Francisco scored a touchdown and they came back to score a touchdown. I'm convinced they had no freaking idea what the rules were in the moment. I am convinced, Jeff Kerr. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Oh, no. You are 1,000% right, John. So this is what I talked to current Chiefs players, former Chiefs, Eagles players on this. They have told me they've never seen a coach that pays more attention to detail on anything than Andy Reid does. When I was talking to a couple of Chiefs players at the AFC Championship game, they're like, he doesn't even have like a spreadsheet. It's all in here. Like, okay, so if this happens, we're going to do this. If this happens, we're going to do this. And I'm convinced that's how it was in overtime. They were probably shocked the 49ers chose to receive. And
I'm sure they
should have been.
Yeah. I was shocked.
The running joke last night was they wanted to score before the second overtime, so they had to walk all the way down the field to do it.
Yeah, that I won't blame them for, but I'm sorry, Coach Shanahan. That's just malfeasance. You can't not know the rules of engagement before a game starts. You just can't. Even though they've changed them, this is the second year of the new rule. You got to know that. You have to. You can't not know that. And that's just egregious that they did that. And I'm sorry, but if both teams score a touchdown, then we all of a sudden have an advantage. Jeff just told you, wouldn't have gotten there. The Chiefs would have gone for two. They had already planned it out that they were going for two, that the game was going to end on either a Patrick Mahomes pass, run, whatever. They're going to either win or going to lose. You're never getting the ball third. Kansas City had already decided if the 49ers open up with a touchdown, they're going for a touchdown and going for two. So that tells you one team was prepared for the overtime under the new rules, relatively new, 2 years running, and the other one wasn't. And just shame on the 49ers for that. That's awful. Patrick Mahomes now elevates himself into the conversation. It doesn't really change for me because Brady is the greatest of all time, and Patrick Mahomes is the only one you can have conversation to talk about who's in chase of him. How much ground did he make up with this going back to back?
He made up a lot of ground. So if we want to talk about greatest quarterbacks ever before age 30, it's Patrick Mahomes. He is the only quarterback to win 2 league MVPs and 3 Super Bowl MVPs before turning 30. It's him and Andy Reid already have 15 career postseason wins together. Only Brady and Belichick have more. I believe in terms of playoff rankings among quarterbacks, it's among quarterback wins. It's Brady, Montana is 16, and Mahomes is 15.
Holmes,
15. Yeah, but he's got a ways to go to
Yeah,
catch.
he's got a long way. And we got to remember something. Tom Brady did most of his damage in his 30s. The guy had a
Yeah.
Hall of Fame career in his 30s, maybe even the GOAT.
What is Tom? I think Tom's at 36. Is that right? Am I right, Jeff? You're the stat guy.
It's 36. 36. Yeah. He's got 21 to go.
As great as Patrick Mahomes has been, and he's been great. He's been the best quarterback in NFL history through 6 seasons as a starter. He's not even halfway there when it comes to playoff wins. That's so astonishing. So longevity's got to come into it. And our buddy Clark Judge says all the time that it's never been easier to play the quarterback position because of how they protect you. And he's right. But I'll tell you, I give Patrick Mahomes credit. He's so savvy. He's so smart. Like, he understands players aren't going to take shots at him in the open field. So he'll take the extra yards. He'll cut inside instead of going outside. And he knows they're going to ease up because they don't want the 15 yards. Now, it's a risk because you never know when somebody's going to go rogue and take a shot at you. But boy, he's just so savvy when he's doing that stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing to watch. He's number one. And, you know, the runner up, you can argue, but they're not close.
This is where I kind of separate the whole Mahomes Brady thing right now. When Brady got his first 3, and I've heard this from players that played against him and with him, they never thought Brady was the best quarterback going into those games. Like, Kurt Warner was obviously, he was the MVP that year he faced Brady.
Yeah, well, Brady was young too.
Yeah, and there were a lot of Patriots players that were convinced you had to stop Donovan McNabb to beat the Eagles. And remember, there was a time where it was, okay, Brady he's top 5, but he's not Tom Brady. Like, McNabb was in that conversation. Peyton Manning was in that conversation. Drew Brees wasn't at that level yet, but Brett Favre was in that conversation. It was like, okay, where's Brady sit? Because it was Belichick's defense. And then Tom Brady got Randy Moss and everything changed.
Agreed. And kicked Brady up to another level. And Mahomes just kicks it up each and every single time. And Johnny, your point about the run, that'll kind of probably be forgotten. But that was as big a play as any in overtime when he took off and made the play with his legs. And he is certainly capable of doing that. He's not Michael Vick. He's not even Jalen Hurts. But when he really needs to, he can absolutely take off and make plays with his leg. A very underrated portion of his game is the fact that he's great moving around in the pocket. And that way, he and Brady are exactly alike. They know just when to step, just when to lean, give themselves an angle. But he can also make a play with his legs. All right, so congrats to Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. We're more worried about the Philadelphia Eagles. Hassan Reddick wants out, Jeff Kerr. We saw this coming, right? This should come as no surprise. We knew it was going to hit at some point. Did it have to hit the Sunday of the Super Bowl? Why do you think this became a situation yesterday?
This has been known. That's just typical national media report stuff up. It's Sunday, so we got to report news. Doesn't matter what it is. And
the situation.
The situation. There you go, John. I mean, Jody, it's as simple as this. It's pay me or trade me. And when you look at the top edge rushers in the league, the Myles Garretts, the TJ Watts, they're getting paid what, $25 million a year? Do we think Hassan Reddick's worth that much?
No. I don't. But I think he's underpaid. I think he should be in the 18-19 range, and I think that's where the Eagles want to go. And I think he wants to be paid like he's Myles Garrett or somebody of that nature. So I think that's sort of the disconnect, and that's where the Eagles say, "All right, go check." And if somebody's willing to pay you, and willing to give up that compensation, remember, on top of it, that's going to make it very unlikely. So it's not like the Eagles have left themselves in a lurch, because even if somebody was willing to say, we'll pay you $25 million, they're not going to give up much in compensation and back, and then it becomes difficult to trade. Where that can blow up in your face, though, is Hassan realizes somebody would pay him that money, and that could make a difficult conversation. So it's a gamble. It's a calculated gamble. but it's worked before, and the Eagles usually have a pretty good understanding of the market. They do, and that's tends to when they pull the trigger, and they did it with Slay, and it worked out for him. And Slay went out there, looked, and said, "Oh, I better come back."
You know,
And
I begin to wonder if the whole Sonright being a sack artist will help his cause in getting what he wants, because it's just him and Myles Garrett with 10 sacks in each of the last 40 years. I wonder if a team's going to look at that and say, you know what, we kind of need a pass rusher on our team, but we need a finisher. And Hassan Wright can definitely do that. Now I just begin to wonder if the Eagles would part ways from him. Where do they go from here? Because it's Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, and you tell me.
and maybe returning BG. That's all they have. And BG, of course, is a free agent. You have to re-sign him. I don't think that'd be a problem. But and you saw a little digression in BG this past year. The guy that scares me is Rashawn Gary, who got a new contract this offseason to stay with the Packers. Rashawn Gary's not as good as Hassan Reddick, plain and simple, as far as I'm concerned. He's a good edge player, very good edge player, not as good as Hassan Reddick, and he just got a new contract for $24 million a year. If you're Hassan Reddick, how do you ask for less? You can't. You know you're a better player. Now, Gary's a couple of years younger, and it was his first foray into free agency. This will be Hassan's second, but that's my starting point is $24 million, and I'm not coming off it much. You think the Eagles are going to be willing to go that high for Hassan Reddick?
I don't think so, because they have other needs. You know what, John? I may have caught the tail end of this. Did you say Hassan should have held in last year? Because I would agree with you. That's what you said.
Yeah, he should have held in. He should have, and that was the speculation when he showed up with a groin injury. We were all thinking, because most notably, I remember Hunter, but there was somebody else who held in as well. There are a couple players, because you get fined pretty drastically now, so you can't hold out like you used to. And he held in, got a new deal, only a 1-year deal, and now he'll be a free agent and be able to cash in. Daniil Hunter, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Reddick, showed, to his credit, showed some professionalism, went through it, knew he was underpaid. But boy, when you have 19 and a half sacks in 19 games and you're clearly the best defensive player on the NFC champions, and what was he, 4th in defensive player of the year voting? That was the time to seize the moment. Hold in.
To me, you were the reason the 49ers made every single excuse in the book why you
exactly
last year.
He wrecked that game. He wrecked the NFC Championship game. I should have mentioned that. Well done, Jeff. He wrecked that game.
What I got upset about when Hassan Reddick said he was underpaid was how much people were upset he said that. That's a distraction. I said, but I didn't see Hassan Reddick be a distraction to this football team the entire season.
No. He, like I said, he showed tremendous professionalism. Now, he didn't talk to us, the media, as much, so you knew he was a little bit upset. You knew something was a little bit off, but he never did it in a public way. He never became that disgruntled player behind the scenes. I think if you looked at him in his effort, it was the same. He just didn't have as good as his season. And a lot of reasons for that. They didn't have as much talent around him. Other guys weren't performing, and that's why I never fault players for holding in or doing, because these teams will cut you in a heartbeat if they don't think you're performing. So I thought that was his leverage point, and I thought he should have used it, to be honest. And now the leverage point is gone, at least a little bit. And at Jody's point with Rashawn Gary, I don't know if NFL teams think that way, because Rashawn's like, I don't know, 260, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, like 6'4", right?
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's younger, as Joe mentioned. He's only 26, so that factors into Hassan's going to be 30.
He's 27 now.
Rashawn, yeah. So when he signed the contract, though, so that's different.
All right, John, then do me a favor. Give me the comparable guy. If you're saying height, weight, certainly age plays into it. I get that. But who's the comparable guy who signed recently off the edge that numbers are in the same ballpark with Hassan's?
That's the problem. Hassan Reddick's such a unique player, and this is what the Eagles tried to do with Nolan Smith. He's so undersized yet so effective. I remember we were talking like, is this going to be a concern when the Eagles signed? They had so many lighter bodies, and it worked out well. It didn't affect them. They had lighter bodies at linebacker. They had a light body. It was concerned, can they stop the run? They made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, people say they didn't stop the run in the Super Bowl, but they had a very good season defensively. I don't think we need to legislate that as much as people hate Jonathan Gannon. They were really, really good defensively. I don't know. That's part of the problem. And I think that's what the Eagles, and you could see the Eagles saw this coming, right? That's why they drafted Nolan Smith. And they're like, we'll just draft another Hassan Reddick. Well, he wasn't another Hassan Reddick.
They might be drafting another edge rusher if
the
way this is going.
And they did that at wide receiver too. So you keep doing it until you get it right. But yeah, to Jody's point, I don't know, because Hunter's age-wise is the same, but he's much bigger. He's much more physical, and he's going to get more. Now he's had an injury history, so maybe that affects him. But when he's healthy, he's been more consistent as well. He's a comparison for the age. But again, I don't know if there's many Hassan Reddick body types out there, and that worries NFL people. Obviously, it worries the Eagles, and he keeps producing. That's why he's got a chip on his shoulder, because people keep bringing this stuff up, and people can blame me, but NFL doesn't matter. I bring it up. NFL teams bring it up.
Yep.
So that's part of the problem.
You know what frustrated me a lot about Hassan Reddick last year, and this isn't Hassan Reddick's fault, but the reason why he was labeled a bust those first couple years with the Cardinals is because they
he's playing out of position.
Yeah, he's playing out of position. And then the Eagles did it a little bit at time, not often, but they did it. And I'm like, that's not his game. Just let him do what he does best. Let Hassan Reddick sack the quarterback. I whether you like it or not, that's what he gets paid to do.
I thought that was overblown. I don't know about you guys, but dropping in the cupboard 7 times a game, that's not a big deal. I think
it was 3 last year, though.
Yeah, but and people used to kill Gannon for it. It's the least he ever dropped in his career. I mean, ever since Dom Capers unveiled the zone blitz, people drop. Is it a little bit too much? Sure, but I don't think it's that crazy. Well, I'm trying to look at the edge.
John, do you think we're going to see a shift based on what happened in that Super Bowl last night? I mean, Steve Spagnuolo brought out the old Jim Johnson playbook and said, you know what? And now, granted, not every team has Trent McDuffie to do this, but I got a cornerback that can get after the quarterback and just cause him a nightmare of pain. Brock Purdy was 2 of 6 on 3rd down last night. When they sent.
Yeah, San Francisco had a real difficult time on 3rd downs. I thought, hey, I said I picked the Chiefs to win the game. I was pretty close. I picked them to win 27-23. So it was close.
I was 30-24.
But I said, and Jody can attest to this, I said if Brock Purdy plays a clean game, San Francisco's got a chance to win. He played a clean game. So you can give Brock Purdy credit. Patrick didn't play a clean game. Brock did. I thought he was let down a little. I thought Debo had a bad game. Now he had a hamstring. I thought Kittle had a bad game.
I'll add on to this for you, John. So Brock Purdy was 8 of 20 when he was targeting Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle.
Yeah, I think Ayuk was fine. I think McCaffrey, the numbers weren't great, but I thought McCaffrey was great. I thought Jawan Jennings was their number 3 playmaker.
He was the MVP with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah.
He had a touchdown pass and a touchdown reception. Forget Patrick Mahomes, forget Brock Purdy, forget Deebo Samuel, forget Isaiah. He was the MVP with 9 minutes to go in the game. Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, he had a great game. Yeah, I thought Brock did enough to win. There weren't many big plays. I think their longest pass play was 24 yards, something like that.
And that was that the McCaffrey play, or was it the
Yeah.
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 But by the way, that was Brock Purdy's best play when he had two guys in his face that just dumped it off. I was like, what a play! Like, to just even get the ball to him.
And he threw it forward about 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
But it was still a great play because he had to get rid of the football. He had to perfectly lead him out there. And McCaffrey, being the speed back that he is, made the play down the sideline. So even though, how long did he throw it? He threw it a foot. It doesn't matter. It's still a great pass by Purdy. And you're right. That Spagnuolo's got to get a ton of credit for this. He really did make Purdy's life a living hell. This is Johnny Mac's argument. You know, I'm a sack guy. John gives more credence to pressures. Oh, that was a pressure game. He didn't have a chance. And Purdy's one of the best in football at getting rid of the ball quickly. Even at that, like 1.8 seconds. And a cornerback's in his face. Who the hell is going to be able to get open in 1.8 seconds?
By the way, Jennings was open for a touchdown on the 3rd down play, and Chris Jones just got there too quick. He was open. If he had a tick more, he had beat, I forget who the corner was on the play.
Here's the way I would say it. He would have been open. He had potential separation. The ball was already out of Purdy's hands because Jones was in his face. He had to throw the ball before he officially got open. But he could have gotten open. That's just dynamite defense by the Kansas City Chiefs.
What's unique about that Chiefs defense, and again, this is talking to them last year, talking to them at the AFC Championship game this year. There isn't a single cocky player on that. The cocky players on the team are the quarterback and the tight end. The rest of them are like Chris Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say the tight end's pretty cocky.
Oh, he was cocky with Berman last night. But by the way, Mahomes had the most savage quote out of anybody last night. I wonder how they're going to change the rules in overtime for us again.
Yeah, well, they won both ways. That's what he said. Yeah, that was the savage part. So, yeah, somebody will complain. Well, the 49ers, you know, people in Philadelphia think they complain. I guess they do complain.
They do.
But,
you know what? It's not just people from Philadelphia. This is I didn't realize this, but everybody in the NFC West says it too. Like I had a couple Rams people.
Well, I think Eagles fans overblow it a little bit, but you know, the point is, you know, did the 49ers get screwed by old school rules? Yes, they got screwed, but those are the rules. You got to understand the rules. They changed the rules because who was complaining? Buffalo? Was it the Buffalo game?
Yeah, because
it was the Buffalo game.
Mahomes beat Buffalo, beat Allen.
Sorry about that. I had to point this out to a couple people. I said, technically, the Chiefs complained first because remember they lost to overtime in the Patriots in 2018.
Yeah. And by the way, the NFL's got to stop that because people whine. Stop it. There's a great Family Guy gag where somebody complains about something on TV and they say one complaint equals 1 billion people. And I feel like everybody believes this. Stop listening to these morons. Stop it. And they should have never changed the rules in the first place. But now that they've changed it, because they're going to hear that groundswell again. Oh, you got to change it. You got to change it. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just stop. Stop it.
I think the only groundswell will be for what the hell was Kyle Shanahan thinking. You got to know the rules. If it you have to have it stated on SportsCenter every night for 3 weeks. Here are the new rules in the playoffs and the National Football. You got to do what you got to do to get it out.
This just came to me too with Kyle Shanahan. So he's blown a double-digit lead in every Super Bowl. I was pointed this out last night. He also blew a double-digit lead in the NFC Championship game too, and when they lost to the Rams a couple years ago.
Well, I'm done. And Jody knows this. I can't stand when people blame coaches. He blew a lead. No, he didn't, Jeff. He's not on the damn field. Somebody can make a play at some point. Somebody can make, even if a coach makes a dumb decision like Kyle Shanahan did yesterday, the players still had a chance to go on the field. How long was that drive? How many plays was that drive? I know Mahomes was 8 of 8.
Which one? The 49ers drive or the Chiefs drive? The winning drive was 13. The winning drive was 13 plays.
You have 13 plays to make a play. You can do something. You had a 4th and 1. You can step up there and close and win the Super Bowl.
John, I'll add on to this, and I said this the Monday of Super Bowl week and got ripped by 49ers Nation. It's time for these trash talkers on that team to show up. And they didn't. It's time. Like, I know you want to blame Shanahan, and I'm okay if you do it, but Deebo Samuel, put up or shut up, dude. You had 11 targets in the Super Bowl.
He didn't have a good game.
I'll tell you who made him. Hey, Fletcher Cox. He said, "Hey, I got one.
Yeah,
you know."
Fletch,
Oh man, Fletch went off.
Here's where it's different for me. He made an egregious decision on an
I agree with that.
every game basis. It's always the players above the coaches. We give the coaches a little bit too much credit when they win, a little bit too much blame when they do. In this particular game, you are well within your rights to say, what the hell were you thinking about Kyle Shanahan?
I started the show agreeing with you. I think it was an egregious decision. Now we all say coaches, and you hear this all the time about Nick Sirianni. You hear it ad nauseum. He didn't put players in a position to succeed. You got to lift up play. Whatever. Blame whoever you want because you don't want to blame your favorite players. I'm saying somebody could have picked up Kyle Shanahan in that situation.
That's
George
every game.
Yeah,
Can we
exactly.
end the debate that
13
George Kittle was better than
plays.
Travis Kelce? Yeah. Can we end the debate George Kittle's better than Travis Kelce?
Travis
That's a
Kelce,
joke.
Travis Kelce, to his credit, will say.
Well, he'll say it's George Kittle.
Yes, he will say.
But
he's talking about as an all-around tight end. As a receiver, yeah, Travis is better. Travis he's breaking Jerry Rice records. So.
Right.
Yeah. So
and it became a non-story after the game. Did we ever find out why the hell he chest bumped Andy Reid in the middle of the game?
They talked about it. They both did.
Andy was joking about it. You know,
Andy
was all balanced.
I saw Andy's face.
Yeah.
He didn't laugh when Travis bumped into him. After you win the game, you're on the podium. It's real easy to laugh about it. He wasn't laughing at the time.
I said Travis is a lunatic, man. And I'll tell you, when he does that, both after the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, his goofy victory speeches, that's the only time you see Taylor Swift. They show her and she's like, oh my God, what? For that one brief second, she's like, what am I doing with this meathead? For one brief second. Yeah.
We'll see how that lasts over the next 8 months, by the way, when he's not on SNL. Well, he probably will be on SNL, but
yeah, he probably will be. Yeah.
But by the way, John, did you have on your bingo card Jason Kelce meeting Ice Spice yesterday?
I did not. I
took the picture and I didn't realize it was Ice Spice right away. Like, oh, I gotta add that to the tweet. Yeah. Like, I don't have the edit button.
Blake Lively's always up there. Who's the actress? For people that don't know, Ryan Reynolds' wife. Every time they blast Taylor Swift, everybody gets upset. I can't get off Blake Lively to get to Taylor Swift. So, that's my problem.
And you know what was fitting? They showed Blake Lively right before they had the Deadpool movie trailer. It's poetic justice.
Yeah.
Okay. The one guy we've been under-recognizing here so far in the first hour of the show is that other Kelce, not Travis, but Jason. Couple appearances, Radio Row this week. I guess that he had meetings with ESPN, Fox, Amazon. CBS. You better catch up there.
You know what? I've already complained about. I'm like, why aren't we having meetings with this guy? I put it into the people that are in charge of this stuff.
As well, you should. And he did one guest spot. I apologize for not remembering exactly which one it was, but we played the audio yesterday on WIP. He kept referring to the Philadelphia Eagles as the Philadelphia Eagles, not we.
Jason, I think that was Chris Long's.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And after I heard that, I said, "Oh shoot, he's out of Dodge," because I've been on the positive side of the return of Jason Kelce on the 50% side rather than the negative side.
I've been saying since, Adam Schefter's report was true at the time. Can he change his mind? He can always change his mind. He changed his mind before. But there were players, and Jordan Mailata was doing something at the Super Bowl. He flat out said he ain't coming back. He flat out said it.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're talking about one person. He can change his mind, but that's why I've always been still leaning towards retirement when it comes to Jason.
I always say
maybe he's so excited by Travis's win, he starts thinking about coming back. Who knows?
I always say wait till the first week of March because that's usually when he tells you he's coming back or not coming back either way.
Yeah.
Which is only that's just standard NFL business because he's not going to screw the Eagles. He is on several occasions mentioned the fact that he wants to continue to be part of the organization. Jason, I got bad news for you in case he hasn't figured this one out. If you're working for Amazon, you're not working for the Eagles, okay? You can't have dual work slots as a commentator on the games, but also be on the Eagles staff in some way, shape, or form, assistant general manager, advisor, whatever. You can't have your cake and eat it too, Jason. And it seems like that's what he wants. But this was a depressing weekend for me because
can we add this little quirk into the Super Bowl? Did any of you guys think Andy was playing mind games last night when Don DeSandro was there pregame? Oh, by the way, he was in the box with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Dom was in the box too at one point. Yeah.
How is he playing mind games with Dom?
He wasn't playing mind games with Dom, but he was using Dom to play mind games with the 49ers.
Nah, I don't think so. I think Dom was there with Jeffrey. Jeffrey Lurie was there. Jeffrey always goes to support Andy. I don't think it was much more than that. That's me.
Yeah, but you never know.
If Jeffrey's going
a little further out on that grassy knoll, then I'm ready.
I will say I do want to get in under the wire at Jeff Kerr CBS on X, Twitter. Make sure you follow Jeff. Read him at CBS Sports. Does a tremendous job. We were talking about Tom Brady, talking about podcasts. Did you see Tom on Steve Young's podcast? Because a lot of Eagles fans, he was talking about modern quarterback play. What's wrong with modern quarterback play? And a lot of Eagles fans thought he was talking about Jalen. He wasn't talking about Jalen Hurts. He was talking about 15, 20 different guys. But, Philadelphia's so provincial. But did you hear Tom's comments? And what did you think of Tom's comments? Because he's 100% accurate. As I've been trying to explain this for years, Tom explained it in 5 words with play callers. They're calling probabilities. That's it. It's the quarterback's job. If the probability's wrong, and he used 3rd and short as an example, you in theory, you think you're getting man to man. Well, if they screw you up and you got zone, you got to change it at the line of scrimmage. And too many guys snap the football and they're like, what the hell am I going to do? And they just run it. Now, people took that as an affront to Jalen Hurts.
No, I didn't see it as that.
No, it was an affront to modern quarterback play in general. But I loved it because he explained so succinctly why it's important to understand what's going on at the quarterback position. And it's not on the play caller. People think play calls are magicians. They're calling probabilities. It's 3rd and 7. This is what they're probably going to play. If they don't play, you better get that player prepared to understand what's going on and to change things at the line of scrimmage. It was brilliant.
I always thought that's why over the last 25 years, Andy Reid's quarterbacks have had a tremendous degree of success. And Alex Smith even broke that down. He said, look, Andy Reid said, okay, like if you're facing, it's not 3-4 anymore. What's it now, John? Odd front, even front. I forget what they call it now.
Yeah, variable fronts, odd fronts, 50 fronts, 40 fronts. But 3-4, it drives me insane with people. Oh, Vic Fangio runs a 3-4.
He doesn't run a 3-4, but yeah. But yeah, Alex Smith said, like, okay, so this is situation is you got to remember check down, you got to remember to do this. And, I'm sure he implemented that in the Patrick Mahomes. I know Donovan McNabb even had that at one point in time. Like, it still drives me nuts when people say, Donovan McNabb couldn't read a defense, Donovan McNabb couldn't do it. I'm like, actually, he could read a defense really well over the course of his career. That wasn't why Donovan McNabb failed in playoff games.
And Jeff Kerr, feel free to get Sean McManus on the phone. Tell me better get a meeting scheduled.
Sean McManus is retiring.
Yes. He's done after this, right? Is he doing anything else?
Final 4 is going to be his last one.
All right. So he's still around. So he's still got time. Fire up that email.
So when I was talking to Greg Gumbel before I totally forgot he did not call games this year, right? Greg said to me, I told him I missed him at games this year because I retired from doing that last year. I'm like, I'm just used to seeing him on the road to Final 4 all the time. And it was a good laugh. I always forget he's 76 years old, by the way.
Is he really?
He's 76. Wow. I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Gumby,
Yeah.
Yeah, Gumby 76.
the good dude. I know him from way back when from the
Yeah, but you
ESPN.
walk. I'll tell you what. But you're talking to like Munzberger, Gumbel, all those guys. It's like it's your damn childhood. It's just
Exactly.
coming up
Yeah,
to you.
Brett, you are looking live, Brett Musburger.
I'll tell you
I'll
what,
never forget it.
Brett has some awesome stories.
Not about pointing out the Florida State cheerleader, but some awesome stories.
I tried to get that out of him, but he goes, "Oh, that was another network." That's what
he's not revisiting that.
Not
one.
cheerleaders. I apologize. Cowgirls, the Florida State Cowgirls. Yeah, Jen Sturger was one
Feel
of them.
free, Jeff Kerr, to also, if you so moved, and if your McManus is walking out the door, you don't want to burden with him. Fine. Shame on Romo. I say shame on Shanahan for calling the play. Romo not only didn't mention it when they made the call, which he should have immediately, they went to commercial. Nance comes back and sets him up to give him a chance to second guess, and he goes, yeah, there's an advantage to kick it, but if your defense is tired, you want to give them a break. No, that is all outweighed by the advantage you have by going second. Romo, who second guesses friggin' everything all game long. That's all he does is second guess the coach. He's got the biggest second guess teed up for him, and he passed on it. It just broadcast.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I'm sure Tony wishes he would have had that one back too. Like a lot of people like to get on Romo for a lot of things, but a lot of people like to complain about everything. I'll tell you what. No one. It's like you said, Jody. Tony Romo second guesses a lot of stuff. I guarantee you, no one reviews his broadcast like Tony Romo does. Maybe Greg Olson more than Tony, but I know Tony.
Yeah, Tony was taking a lot of I don't get.
I thought he had a good Super Bowl yesterday. I'm not just saying that because I'm a company guy.
I think he said spatial awareness too much. But,
well, that's his new phrase.
Yeah. I thought he was hideously bad yesterday, as a matter of fact. And it's
you can't. You got a CBS guy. You can't kill Tony.
Last time I checked, I worked for CBS Sports Radio.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're an employee.
I am honest to a fault
true.
when it comes to evaluation, and Aikman is so far and away the best announcer. Olsen's come a long way. He's closed the gap, but Aikman's been doing it so much longer.
I don't pay that much attention. I don't.
By the way, Jim Nance had one of the best winning calls ever. Jackpot Las Vegas.
I know.
That
Kevin,
was awesome.
I love Kevin Harlan's.
Yeah, what was Harlan's call? I didn't get to hear it yet.
I love. It's all over the place. I love Kevin Harlan, so I'm biased.
Harlan's he's very good at football. He screams a little too much for my basketball taste, but he's how many years in a row? He's like over a decade now doing the Super Bowl on the radio, right?
Yeah.
14 straight years, I think he's done.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you haven't lived till you heard Kevin Harlan do a Timberwolves game when they were terrible. He had 14, 15. He would find a way to make it entertaining. It was unbelievable.
I can guarantee you part of it was screaming, because Kevin likes to scream when he does basketball.
He's got to get, two guys, again, locally, who have a gift no matter how good or bad they are Scott Fransky in LA. They're the two to me. If the Phillies are the 2015, 2017 Phillies, that's who I want to listen to, because it's just pure entertainment.
They are good. All right. You are entertaining too, Jeff Kerr. We thank you much for hopping in. You stay a little longer than usual. Feel free to get about your day and do all this other posts.
I got to write about Mahomes being the GOAT, and I already wrote about Kelce, whether he's the GOAT or not, and people are saying, Gronk, Gronk, Gronk. I'm like, well, you got to look at those postseason numbers.
Don't forget to write about Jody McDonald and John McMullen's 700th show, and we're on it.
700th show. So
that's right. You are the esteemed guest on the 700th show.
All right, boys, I got a question for you now that this is the 700th show. Does Patrick Mahomes get 700 touchdown passes in his career?
Oh, that's
I don't know.
That's
he's at what, like
that's too much math to be asking McMullen and McDonald. Yeah.
By the way, that I should also say before you leave, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. So
they did do that. They did beat the Super Bowl champions
on the road. The road.
They did not do much after that, but they
and the head coach was screaming at the fans. Whatever he said.
Yes.
Nick's
lucky to still have his job, so he should be putting that one in the rearview mirror.
The receipts Chiefs fans have right now are they are savage.
Oh, somebody put it. Yeah, somebody
Oh
put it up.
man.
I don't hear shit anymore, Chiefs fans. See ya. That was Nick Sirianni after the big Chiefs game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they played on in the season thereafter, and it worked out okay for Kansas City. Jeff Kerr, thank you very much. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
CBSSports.com's Jeff Kerr here with us on
Yeah, how about that? I forgot that. He was also yelling at your buddy Elliott Shore Parks for saying the Chiefs had the better coach and better quarterback. That's why Elliott predicted the Chiefs to win that week.
And Elliott might have had to take his tongue lashing that week. I think Elliott gets to go. You see the thing?
I think the Chiefs have the better coach and quarterback.
Yeah, I think that was proved out over time to be a correct statement by ESP. All right, Johnny Mac coming back. Chris Franklin from NJ.com. Going to keep it in an Eagle mode. He's going to join us coming up in less than 15 minutes here on Birds 365.